Dies Lied ist aus der Sehnsucht süßer Sprache.
I stole the wine, didn't you, Runt?
No, I didn't, I swear!
Ah, let me see what I can do to squeal.
I did, I swear!
Come in.
Reporting for work, sir.
Relax, son. This isn't the academy.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Sullivan will do just fine. I think you'll find that the COI is a bit more informal than your other branches of government. Now, let's set you to work. Some city detectives sent this complaint over to us. It should be pretty straightforward. If you have any questions about the assignment, don't hesitate to ask. The door's always open, son.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sullivan.
What is it, Mr. Pearson? Oh, yes, of course, your office. It's across the hall, and please forgive the mess. Your predecessor departed rather unexpectedly, and we're still short-staffed and haven't had a chance to clear it out for you. Well, I hope you can handle things on your own. It's something you're going to have to get used to with the COI.
President Roosevelt had just authorized the formation of the COI that summer. They were supposed to be the outfit that handled the real spy stuff overseas. It was the place to be if you wanted real adventure. At least, that was the bill of goods the recruiters for the COI sold me. And here I was, stuck in a crummy old office, in Cleveland of all places, as far away from any real action as I could imagine. What a bunch of gibberish. What a bunch of gibberish. This might come in handy. My lucky St. Christopher's medal. I've had it since I was a kid. I wonder what sort of artifacts Mr. Pinsky wanted Professor Strauss to look at.
Yes?
Sorry to bother you, sir.
Not at all, Mr. Pearson. Come right in.
Sir, what happened to the fellow I'm replacing?
Walter Pensky. Good man. And a good agent. Once. The job got the better of him.
I imagine he must have been under a lot of pressure, sir.
We all are these days. Just remember, Mr. Pearson, we follow orders, not personal crusades.
I will, sir. I have a question about this case file, sir.
Certainly. What is it?
Who handled this case when it first came in, sir?
A city detective named Marillo. I guess he's got his hands full now. He's handling the torso murders investigation. Terrible work, that. They found another one just yesterday.
Sir, this munitions owner, Mr. Finster, is there anything you can tell me about him that wasn't in the report?
Hank Finster is an interesting case. He's an important man with the fellows in the Defense Department on account of the munitions factories he owns. But he's not wound all too tight, if you catch my meaning. Well, it's always one thing after another with him. If it isn't the unions, it's the Reds. If it isn't the Reds, it's the Nazis. But he may have something there. Take a look at that invitation. What do you make of it?
Well, the invitation's a little unusual, but it looks like fascist propaganda to me.
And that it is, son. Now, I'm not saying it's Nazi propaganda. There are 100 different organizations with fascist agendas, but this call to brotherhood could have come straight out of Hitler's Germany. Did you notice the quality of the invitation itself? It's not a pamphlet or a flyer. Whoever these people are, they have a certain amount of sophistication. And they seem to be targeting only people of wealth and influence in our society. You'll need to be careful not to ruffle any feathers.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, could you tell me where Mr. Finster's office is?
He's up there. You're welcome.
Excuse me, Mr. Finster? Jim Pearson from the COI. I've been assigned to investigate your complaint.
What the hell took you so long? I guess all my calls to Mayor Lausch finally got you guys off your cans.
What can you tell me about this brotherhood, Mr. Finster?
What can I tell you? Oh, what makes you think I can tell you anything? I'll tell you what it is, though. It's a Nazi conspiracy is what it is.
No, what makes you say that, Mr. Finster? The invitation has no swastikas, no insignia, no clear-cut signs of Nazi involvement.
Now, you mark my words, young man. This is a Nazi conspiracy, or my name isn't Henry W. Finster.
I'm gonna need some hard facts before I'm able to make that stick with my superior, sir.
Where do they find you guys? What, they just pull you out of a pumpkin patch? It's right before your eyes. Those screwy symbols.
You recognize the symbols on that invitation?
I've seen them all over Germany.
When were you in Germany, Mr. Finster?
Now, don't you give me that look.
Mr. Finster,
There is nothing wrong with Germany. My grandparents were born in Deutschland. We still have family there. The German people are upstanding, hard-working, God-fearing folk, and the American worker could learn a thing or two from them. The only thing wrong with Germany is that Austrian peasant and his gang of street thugs.
My apologies, Mr. Finster. I am only trying to establish the facts in the case.
Okay. It's been 15, 20 years now since I've been there. But I will never forget those symbols.
Do you have any idea what those symbols mean?
Of course not. I would never have anything to do with that sort of thing.
What do you remember about the man that gave you that invitation, Mr. Finster?
He's a no-good bum, I remember that.
Do you remember his name?
Hey, guy employed a Nazi sympathizer right here in my own factory.
He was an employee of yours?
Of course not. I don't hire Nazis.
I'm sorry. I'm a little confused. Who's the Nazi?
Why did they send a boy to do a man's job? What are they trying to do? Drive me crazy?
Wait just a minute, Mr. Finster. That's not called for.
My foreman, George Hansen. I used to think he was a good man. Well, he drinks a little bit too much, but he's a hard worker. Well, anyway, how am I supposed to know he traffics with Nazis? Well, he brings this riffraff right through my doors, into my factory, right into my office. He could have killed me. He was standing as close to me as you are right now. Well, naturally, I fired him on the spot.
Riffraff.
No, you idiot. George Hansen. Haven't you been listening to a word I said?
Do you remember the name of the man that gave you that invitation?
Of course not. He never mentioned it. He said he was just a messenger.
Can you describe this messenger for me?
I already described him to that detective. Look, I even picked his photograph out of one of their books. Oh, but he didn't care. All he was interested in was that vagrant killer. Well, if you ask me, he's doing this city a big favor.
I wouldn't know anything about that, sir. Can you describe him again for me, please, for my benefit?
You know, if you guys had done your work in the first place, you'd already know this. Yeah, he looked like a killer. Real mean, squinty eyes, red hair, and the bushiest red beard you'd ever want to see. Hey, there's no mistaking this guy.
Do you have any idea where I might be able to find this messenger?
Of course not.
Okay, what about this other fella, the foreman?
Well, I used to live in company housing, but I had him evicted, of course.
Do you have any idea where I might be able to find him?
A man of my standing doesn't fraternize with his workers. Although, I have been told that George likes to throw his money around a lot on payday. The men, they like this cheap whiskey saloon in the Roaring Third. McGillies, McGarrity's, some kind of Mick name. McGinty's, that's the name of it, McGinty's.
And now for the day's news. Our top story today comes straight from the tough and tumble neighborhood of Kingsbury Run. There, the police continue their exhaustive manhunt for the torso killer. As his head count hits 7, the citizens of Cleveland raise their voices in protest. Meanwhile, the city police have been baffled by this insidious madman's terrible work. The latest victim, discovered by two children playing along the banks of the Cuyahoga River, remains unidentified.
Excuse me, I'm looking for a man named George Hansen. He used to be...
I never heard of him.
Listen, buddy, I'm not trying to cause any trouble for you. I just need a little help trying to find a friend of mine.
Yeah, friend, huh? Look, I got nothing to do with no lousy feds. I want you to do me a favor and scram, huh? And while you're at it, take that friend over there with you. Scaring away all my business.
American name painted on her pilot house and stern in an attempt to pass itself off as one of our own. Our American cruiser's good commander was too smart to fall for such a trick, however, and he immediately ordered the ship to heave to. Despite a last-ditch effort by the Axis merchantmen to blow up their own ship, their vessel was captured without incident. In other global news, snow and near-zero weather in Russia halted Nazi troops dead in their tracks. More bad news for the Axis.
What's your name?
The British began an offensive in
Who wants to know?
Africa
My name's Jim
along the
Pearson. I'm from the COI.
130-mile Libya line.
Well, have a seat, Jimbo.
Wire reports confirmed that the Australian cruiser Sydney was
The name's
sunk by a
Winslow.
German raider
Dick
disguised
Winslow.
as a Dutch merchant ship.
Nice to meet you, Mr.
I
Winslow.
guess our mates down
What
under
brings you here?
use a few
Oh, no
lessons
need to
from
be
our
so
own
formal. You can call me
boys at
Dick.
sea. In Washington today,
I'm just here for a drink.
Japan's new and super
Really?
special envoy to the United States. is
This
set to
just
begin a
doesn't
round
seem
of
like your
talks
type of
with
place.
the State Department.
No, and why not?
These
Why
talks
can't a
come
working
right
Joe
on the
like me
heels
go
of
out for a drink?
stinging
Can't he try
remarks
someplace
regarding
new?
Roosevelt's
Well, you just seem a little overdressed, is all.
With the Pacific crisis nearing its breaking point,
Guilty as charged, sport. Not a bad bit of deduction, that.
on the diplomatic diamond
Oh, well, I might as well
head off
confess, you're
a
right.
military confrontation. Also in Washington,
With the
a
FBI.
recent survey of 59
Really?
Midwestern editors and publishers.
What are you doing here?
Interventionist
Staking the place out.
Congress for Freedom
I thought I might get a lead on the torso killer, but I haven't had much luck yet.
Reported that their communities were now overwhelmingly in favor
you're
of the
new here,
administration's
aren't you?
foreign
Yeah, I just
policy and
started.
a repeal
Oh, you
of
don't
the
say.
Neutrality Act.
And, what brings you here to McGinty's, Jimbo?
Well, I'm working on an investigation of my own.
Oh, really? How interesting. Did someone steal some plans for a secret weapon? Huh? Or commit an act of sabotage, perhaps?
No, nothing like that. I'm looking into a group of possible German subversives.
Well, perhaps your men are on our little German blacklist.
New York has a new hero in Jerry.
You mean they haven't told you about that?
The lovable colleagues
Your office
guarding
should have a
almost
copy.
16 families
Really,
residing
I'd
in a
complain to my
prison
superiors
above
right
and
away.
Upper East Side
How
Shore.
can a new agent hope to succeed without the
Our
necessary
dog hero
tools?
nearly gave
What
his
is
own
this
life,
list?
however. After seeing
It's a list
everyone to safety,
of suspicious
Jerry
Americans
left
of
the
German
burning
descent.
building and collapsed.
FBI's been keeping tabs on them
Thanks
for a
to the
while now.
efforts of a local
Oh, it
doctor,
wouldn't take much
Jerry
for some of them to
was
sell out
revived.
Uncle Sam for
Give that dog
Uncle Adolf, huh?
Thanks for the information, Dick. This list might come in handy.
local news. Prominent
Well,
entrepreneur
I should be going now.
G. Sonny
Listen,
was killed
sport.
in a plane crash.
You're new here,
Meanwhile,
so I'll
here
give you
in
one
our
little bit
own
of free
beloved
advice.
city, an estimated crowd of
Some of the people in your
6,000
department have
gathered for
stepped
the
on some
Freedom Day
toes, so,
rally at Public Hall.
You be careful where you put your
The
foot
cheering
down.
crowd of
I'll remember that.
conscious Clevelanders
It was a
condemned
pleasure to meet you, Jimbo.
hostage slayings and called
Drop
for
by
a
my
end
office
to
anytime.
events.
Thanks, Dick. I just may take you up on that.
Today's weather, one word, friends, brr. And finally, in sports today, the Barons extend their...
Look, I don't mean to be
winning
critical,
7
Jimbo,
games by defeating
but the
the
people
Washington
around here are going to be
Lions
afraid to open up to me if they
2-0
see
in
me
an
talking to a
American
Fed.
Hockey League game. And unconfirmed
Sorry, Dick.
reports from Indians
I won't bother you.
management indicate that they are about to sign a 24-year-old Indian shortstop, Smiling Lou Boudreau, to a 2-year contract to manage our hometown boys. If such a deal goes through, this would make Boudreau